Hello everybody and welcome back to Planet Coaster. I hope I made this a bit like Delady would do it. Welcome back to another episode of Delady Studios and her entrance building. Yeah, yesterday you've seen the first episode and I thought, okay, I just split them because they were just too long, but there's no reason for just, making it a longer wait for you to see the second episode. So today, there it is. Unfortunately, Lady is not here to record with us, but we decided that she will give you an in-depth look to it in her park then when I'm going to give it over to her, which I will be doing directly today. So she will have this at hands quite soon, or maybe even tomorrow, because I need to do a little secret thing you guys are not going to see in the video, but as always, remember to click the bell because I just saw the notification pop up right on the top of the screen. I'm trying to remember you guys, or remind you guys, I hope that I do remember you, but I remind you guys now in each and every episode to click that bell to make sure that you guys get the notifications once there's a new video on, because how could you ever see then when I'm going to do something else with the lady in the future, right? But as always, I'm trying to do my best with this build, and there are a few things I need to clarify. First of all, sorry, in the last episode I always said the whole composition of the... I don't even know what that word should be. I obviously meant composition. I just listened to it again and I was like, what the hell? What the hell did I even talk about? So, never mind. It's just weird. But yeah, so as I said, there is a lot of things happening with this entrance, and there were a lot of things going into it, which Lady asked me to have somehow within her entrance, and I completely lost myself in doing this because it was so much fun to build. And funny enough, while recording the whole stuff, I was watching the video of John T and Masked Bandit, I guess it was, where he basically built in Conifer Slopes, the little baby park, the beloved park by Masked Bandit, and I listened to them, and John T was stating how difficult it is to build for somebody else because you want to do it even better than you would do it for yourself, which is weird because it seems that we all kind of are perfectionists, but somehow you yourself want to have a progress somehow, and so you say, okay, it's fine how it is now, I can live with it and make the next area better than this one. But if you build for someone else, you really want to do it that little percentage better even, so to make sure that it is really notch perfect and top-notch perfect, I would say, but anyways, and so I was like doing so many things with this build, also looking at it from nighttime. Quite often I forgot to build things actually at nighttime, so I did here. So I thought, okay, you really need to spend an eye on nighttime view as well, and I completely went into it so that everything is lit perfectly, not too crazy but also not too shallow. We also gonna do this a few times in this park, so don't worry. In this episode, I'm just a bit confused. Never mind. And yeah, I also want to have something, also simple yet special looking. This is the little fence we have with the entrance, because I somehow wanted to make it a little bit more inviting to the entrance of the park, and this is why I used these little fences to kind of block away a little bit of some bigger planter areas where we have some kind of foliage, shrubbery going on. Not too much, actually, just to make sure that there is a bit of it adding to the entrance, because I always feel that foliage and some trees and the greenery in general just makes the whole look a bit more alive, a bit more complete. Again, I really wish we would get some more foliage things in the future. I don't know, maybe they can use some of the models they use for Jurassic World Evolution and bring them into Planet Coaster. I mean, the thing is, I totally agree that some of the mechanics we will have or we do have in Jurassic World Evolution, they can't be translated that easily into Planet Coaster. I mean, basically, that's down to the fact that there is a lot of coding going on and the animations and also... But what I really think is maybe the plants, at least the trees and the variation in trees from Jurassic World Evolution, should be able somehow to be done relatively easy, I guess, because the models, they basically, I think they modeled in the same programs and they use the same engine, so why shouldn't they be able to bring in some of these models in? And I'm quite certain also that some of the shrubs we have from the adventure pack are actually the same as in Jurassic World Evolution. Some of the ferns, some of the ground shrubbery, I'm not, I compared them and I'm pretty certain they are at least basing on the same model. So I'm really having high hopes that we get some of these things which we have seen in Jurassic World Evolution, that we see them back in here. But now I'm talking about this right now because we are at the potentially most annoying part of this whole episode, but I left it in. I was really considering to cut this out, but I really wanted to use this again to just show how damn awkward this pathing tool is. Like, first things first, it's my dumb mistake that I used the wrong entrances, and that's basically the moment where I figured that I used queue entrances rather than park entrances. So yeah, basically my fault over here, so I'm not going to blame the game, because that was my own stupidity. But yet again, also when I have placed them in the right position at the end, and I also use 3 instead of 5 because that makes things a little bit more easy, at least also with the passing. And then you will see now I tried to go in with a very simple path layout now, also to make it a lot more easy for Lady to build this thing later on, and this is really important because that all looked awfully off at the beginning. So now this is pretty much the layout we are going for, and this is also why I'm already putting down these little curbs. So Lady, if you're watching, and I hope you're watching again, you don't need to worry about the things. People shouldn't be walking into stuff because I managed to squeeze in all the little curbs everywhere, so people shouldn't be walking into some of the pillars and stuff. And yeah, that's basically the reason why I was going so much into path layout, even though it's a blueprint and I shouldn't have even considered it, because yeah, I can't copy path, which is or save the path layout, so you have to do it yourselves. But yeah, one thing also I'm really happy with is this little trick over here, which is not that, it's a well-known trick, but it just adds so much to it. I was using these beautiful pavement pieces, the 4x4 pavement pieces from the Studios pack, which have, I guess, one of the best concrete textures in the game, and it works so well for pathing and for making it all look very, street-ish kind of, and you can really recolor them in a nice shade. They have a nice saturation to them, but really what adds to it is if you take a few of those and vary the color slightly, just ever so slightly, that you get these little lines in between, that it really looks like it would be really a block out of pavement and not only a big flat kind of pavement block. It's made of simple blocks, and they are connected to each other, and if you vary in color, you really get this nice line in between of those, because the color does separate them, not too much that it looks off, but just enough to make it look natural. And I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end. I have to say, I'm really happy with it. But now we are going into more or less the final stages of the general layout. I just wanted to have something more in here to make the entrance building itself look nice. So you have to imagine, if you take away all the little assets that are on, so like the film roll and also the cars and stuff, there is a basic building to it. So the base building, and I wanted to make the base building still look good, so that you take everything away from it, and the building itself still works for it, and not just thinking of, okay, it does block the view, so I don't even care about it. I just wanted to make sure that this works, and yeah, I'm really happy with the outcome. And now I figured that the left tower was a bit empty on the top, and I wanted to have something on the top which again does take a little bit of an aspect from Delady Studios, which she already has, and this is her little globe she has in the middle of her fountain. And I was figuring, why not use this to kind of make the entrance already using this globe, which is a way smaller version of it, but I just needed to watch the episode again how she did it, and I just completely copied it, and I wanted to have this on top of this little tower over there to somehow finish the tower off. And I wanted to use these little letters, which is obviously for Delady Studios, so the DLS kind of abbreviation. I guess that makes sense. And again, as also said in the last episode, this is not just floating in the air. I will basically make a little support system for it now, that it really looks actually realistic. So we even have these little things, because that's also one thing I really love about theme parks. So if you look at it from the front, it really looks nice, and you go into the park, and one thing you don't really do is you don't really look back. You would look back at the end when you go home, and it's, I don't know why, it might be a weird thought now, but I still like the fact that if you go home and you do see stuff from the opposite way, because you look at things you haven't been looking at the beginning, because you definitely have the entrance, you go in with a lot of euphoria, and you're just, so euphoric to kind of see everything, ride the coasters and stuff, and then at the end of the day, you are really, if you go out, you really see, okay, there is like, it's just a facade, right? But it doesn't really matter. You still are in the illusion, but you see things like that. So I really wanted to make sure that also from the backside, you do see a bit of the support system. Not too bad, but if you really look closely to the top of this little tower, which I just made a bit slimmer, I just used a bit the trick to make the whole thing appear a bit thinner, so I just took away a bit of the part, because I wasn't happy with how thick that tower looked, and I wanted to make this a bit more narrow, so to say. But yeah, at the end I am quite happy with the outcome also of this little thing on top of it. Yeah, and then I figured we need one more thing within this tower, and this is a little restroom. And guys, I have to say, that's one of the coolest things in this episode. I'm just so happy with the outcome of it. I really put a lot of time into making this a nice restroom, which is not too fancy, but still it looks really like these kind of entrance restrooms. I don't know why, but I think entrance restrooms are always a bit different from general restrooms, because those general ones are always kind of made into the themed areas, and the entrance restroom most often is kind of this ugly but still nice looking, generic looking restroom, I guess, and you wouldn't even go there, but most of the people you're going with into theme parks, they need to go there, because once you've driven to the park, they really need to go to the toilet. So this is basically the first toilet you have in the park, and I really wanted to kind of get this look done. I don't really know if I made this somehow, but I don't know. I am happy with the result, I have to say. It looks nice and ugly at the same time, somehow. I don't really know how to describe that, but I'm just happy. I used the glass over here also to make these mirrors somehow. I don't even know if that makes sense to do, but I'm quite happy, because if you copy a few of those into each other, they look kind of very reflective, very glossy, and that makes sense. It does look nice. You even have some reflections in it if you have the archer or stuff in front of it, so you have some reflections. I hope if people go in here, you have some reflections. Damn, my pronunciation is so off today. Awkward. Anyways. And now I did one thing. I put an ATM into this one, because I just wanted to make sure that people actually would use at least one of these little, how are they even called, to wash your hands in. I don't even know. Washing thingy? I don't know. Basically where you wash your hands in. Damn, where is that? I just want to, let me just see. Is it a tub? No, that's basically where you lie yourself in, right? Oh god, what did I just Google here? Nope, don't nope. What are you doing? My phone is weird. Let me see. I can't type, I'm just too damn dumb to type. There we go. It is a sink. Yeah, basically a sink. So yeah, I wanted to make at least one of these things be able to be used, and hopefully with the ATMs that works. And yeah, lady, if you don't put too many ATMs in your park, basically people would need to use this one, and then it is even a bit functional. It does look different then, but it somehow should be functional. it's just, I don't know, it's just this little touch of realism I wanted to get into this building. As I said, I was spending a whole lot of looks into the realism aspect of it, and you can see here as well, we have these elevator things over there, which is not really an elevator. I put just doors over there to make sure that people can go up and down. I imagine there is kind of a staircase in, and then in the tower there's kind of the control room. I need to put some, I would have need to put some windows in, I figured. But yeah, I just, yeah, maybe I'm doing this off screen again. But you should have at least a window facing to the back side of it, because if there is the control room in, you at least should have, you know, the looks of it. I don't know. Yeah, but we're going to do the last thing now for this little entrance, or the last bigger thing, I think. It was planned from the very beginning, so that's nothing too special over here. It is really no new idea. I've seen that a few times already, but as always, I wanted to build this myself now and not just copy one of the workshop elements. But this is just a popcorn thing, like this very generic popcorn thing you get in the cinemas. I don't really know the name of it, but it is very much the generic, or the most generic version you can ever get of this one. So yeah, nothing too special, but I like how it turned out in the end. Also, I'm quite happy with the colors I chose, so it looks tasty, I have to say. Just copied these things over, and at this point I really already had to look into the piece count, so I just used a few of those little bulbs to make sure it's not too crazy, and then I already copied that over, and I only tried to just cover up what's inside this thing and not going too crazy. Just make a little bit of overhanging, and then I deleted a few things on top to make it not too crazy, and I just squeezed that into this little corner over there. So you really, now I guess at the end you really have this cinema look to it. You really have this cinema look to it without sacrificing the whole notion of a theme park for it. So it really looks like studios, but with the coaster track going in the middle of it, you have the car crash, you have all the things. I think it's a perfect combination of having a theme park entrance, which looks like studios, but doesn't take away the theme park element of it, if that makes sense to you guys. That's the basic idea. Also putting down some of the little canal covers. Are they called like that? Just to make this whole flat concrete look a bit nicer. And I also wanted to have a shark in, just for having a shark in, because I felt this entrance needs a shark. And then I was too lazy to cover this up properly, so I just used these things to make this little stair or steps in front of it. But yeah, so now we're going into the last and finishing touches of it, where I figured that I forgot to turn off or deactivate the little water fountain thingies, or the fire hydrant thingies, I guess they're called, or hydrants without fire, I don't even know. And yeah, I needed to still cover up the little information kiosks, which, yeah, at this point I really used some simple pieces, because it was, yeah, the problem was that the piece count, I'm really, as always, really close to 4,000 pieces in the end, and I wanted to make this still look nice and tidy, but at the same time I didn't want to make it look, yeah, boring, I should say. So I tried a few things, and I came up with this thing as the last one to use, and I basically used this on both sides, deleted those things. I really wasn't happy with the looks of it, so I just decided to go with another one. Yeah, then closing off the roof in the middle here, so you can see I'm really just trying to make this whole look clean at this point. About benches and so on, yeah, lady, you have to put them in yourselves, because I can't, because the game doesn't copy them, so I haven't basically done this. And yeah, as always, just a bit of foliage work here and there, and that's about it. So we are at the end of this episode, guys, and this is the entrance of Delady Studios, which you will see in her videos, and that's a good point to talk about, because I won't show you any cinematics and also no screenshot at the end. This is for a good reason, because there is a secret still in, which I haven't shown, and it would be shown in the cinematics, so I don't want to do this. You will see the whole and finished thing on the Delady channel. I don't really know when, so make sure to follow her channel for information when she's going to release that episode. But then you will also see what is so special about this. Even Lady doesn't know about that, so be excited for it. And have a nice day. As always, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe if you haven't already. And see you then in the next episode, guys. Enjoy your day and have a good one. Bye bye. We may find love that's flowing.